1 minute.
Yes, y'all! It is DCTF Live coming at you once again from the mothership here at DCTF Live headquarters. If you're driving through Dallas and you see a big building with a lot of lights that says DCTF Live headquarters, that is not where we are. We're in a nondescript building outside of Dallas. Why are you even looking over there? My name's Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com as you listen to our Papa Shot turn itself off. I'm sitting over here, sitting over there is Max Thompson. Hi, Max.
Hello, Greg.
How was your, Thursday night?
It was fine. I went and got a hamburger and fries.
A hamburger and from where?
Simply Burgers.
Simply Burgers.
You ever been there?
Never heard of it.
There's a couple of them. There's one over in Arlington. There's one in DFW, too.
Interesting.
Or in Dallas, I mean. Really good burgers.
Okay.
Really good.
There's some free advertisement for just burgers.
Simply Burgers.
Whatever. It is Friday, February 26, 2016, episode number 8282, the number of plate appearances that Will Venable had in his illustrious Rangers career last season. We are DCTF Live, and we're a football show. A little later, we're going to have Off Topic Friday with a special guest. DCTF senior writer Mike Craven will be joining us here to go through important questions like, what's your go-to Whataburger order?
Yeah.
Other questions coming up. And in just a moment, we will be breaking down the expectations, reasonable expectations for these, for the new FBS coaches in the state of Texas. That's what I'm going to. So, we are, it is Friday, Max.
You're a little all over the place right now.
I am a little all over the place.
What's the deal?
I don't know. I think I'm just kind of.
You're already on San Diego time.
I
Apparently.
really kind of am. I'm already on
Ron
San Diego
Burgundy
time.
on us.
I have. I love scotch. Scotch. But we, it's Friday, and on every Friday I bring my mom coffee at her place of employment because I have two brothers, and it is a constant battle for best son supremacy.
Is that a thing?
Something have to know, right?
I've never felt like there was a battle.
Boy, oh, you just...
But I'm the oldest, number one.
Oh, so what you're
I
saying...
am sure my 2 younger brothers think there's a daily battle of some sort. I've never felt like there's a
You've
battle.
never felt like that?
And that's not saying because I always win. I've never felt
You've never
that way.
cared?
Look,
So-
like when we played sports as kids and stuff, yeah, I cared. But like anything else, I really don't care.
So I bring my mom coffee every Friday because I'm the best son. And
I bet your brothers.
And she...
This is factual.
Yeah. She is probably, and this is, I joke about it, but this is true. She's probably our most loyal podcast listener.
Oh, for sure.
You can subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. My mom, like, she'll tell you, oh, I was catching up on your podcast the other day. And I was just laughing when you were talking about Downton Abbey and stuff. Yeah. I know, right? Does your mom listen to podcasts?
I don't think she would have the first
Does she
clue
know,
how to watch us on a daily basis.
Does she know what a podcast is?
I think so.
You think so?
I think she understands what a podcast is.
She sat here in this studio and watched us record.
How to get a podcast?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
So she understands what a hamburger is. She doesn't know how to go and acquire the hamburger.
My mom doesn't really diversify her listening offerings. It's really like a solid rotation that hasn't changed in a decade.
Steely Dan.
There's probably some Steely Dan. It's more like Bonnie Raitt, Enya, Mariah Carey.
Whoa, Enya.
Shania Twain.
Ooh.
I mean,
Enya is.
Enya's in the mix.
Do you feel, because we're in north of Dallas, do you feel like the presidential election has come to us today? Because Marco Rubio's in Dallas, and Donald Trump is in Fort Worth.
I don't think I knew either of those things.
Twitter told me.
I knew they were in Houston last night, but I did not know that the Texas tour was continuing.
This concludes political talk here on DCTF
right.
Live, probably for the last time ever, because politics are stupid. And if you pay attention to politics, you are stupid too. We're DCTF Live.
I'll drink to that.
We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. We have Twitter. We have Facebook. We have Instagram. We have a website. Do all those fun things. So
Woo!
we are in the midst of the off season, and it sucks because I miss football. Football's a long way away. But the good news is that we have a lot of different storylines in the college ranks across the state, including 3 new FBS coaches. We have had complete turnover in 25% of the FBS teams in the state of Texas, which is pretty rare, I would say. I bet that most states don't go through 25% turnover. States with more than two teams.
Sure.
You know, generally speaking, there's not that kind of turnover. But we have that turnover this year. UTSA has a new coach in Frank Wilson. North Texas has a new coach in DCTF Live's own Seth Luttrell.
Yes.
And Texas State has a new coach.
Is he a co-host now? Is that what that reference was?
And Texas State has a new coach in DCTF Live's own Everett Withers.
I feel like that's misleading.
No, I
but
don't think it is.
I'll let you go with
They
it.
have been on the show.
Yeah, but I don't know if that makes them.
I think once you are on the show, we are claiming you as our own. That's what we're doing.
That's one way to do it.
He's a DCTF Live
Member?
endorser.
Endorser?
There you go.
Ooh, I don't know about that either,
Yeah.
but okay.
So there are 3 new FBS coaches in the state of Texas, and they're all entering different kind of situations.
For sure.
We'll start with North Texas.
Okay.
So Seth Luttrell comes from North Carolina, where he was the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And he takes over a North Texas team that, simply put, was dreadful last
Not
year
good.
in pretty much every aspect of the of football, but especially when it came to offense. The offense was miserable. 124th in the nation in scoring offense, tied with Kansas. Think about how bad Kansas was last year, okay?
I'm thinking about it.
Think about it.
I'm thinking about it right now.
It hurts, right?
It's awful.
It's awful. North Texas and Kansas scored the same amount of points. Not good. Not good. And it's
but one of them almost beat Texas Tech.
With Kansas, at least you have the excuse of, they were playing the Big 12. Like North Texas playing Conference USA.
Yeah.
Like this is the offense was terrible. So Seth Luttrell's edict is clear. He needs to revamp this offense and get it going. The good news for him is that he does bring back, if he's a guy who is a offensive minded, immediately you're going to be like, ooh, I still worry about that defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
9 starters back on defense.
It's nice.
It's going to be nice that if you have to revamp the offense, it looks like the defense should be able to take care of itself. And to a certain extent,
Yeah, I was
should
about
be
to
able
say
to be
that defense
improved.
did still give up 60+ to Portland State.
Not great, but bringing back 9 starters gives you a better feel for this program.
No
Just saying,
question.
okay, you've got experience over there. Offensively, with 6 starters returning, they're going to have some rebuilding to do, obviously. And I'll tell you that I think, and we've been very bullish on one member of their offense, Jeffrey Wilson, their running back, that we think could be a real star for them, and star in the making. But it's an uphill climb for South Littrell and North Texas. I think a reasonable expectation next year. When you look at the fact that they went what 1-11.
Mm-hmm.
I think a reasonable expectation for them is probably much like you saw with SMU this year, 3-9. Get something like 3-9. Get a couple of wins on the board.
I was more or less just curious if you would go as far as 3.
I think that if they can get 3 wins and just instill this confidence in the program and say, guys, we're moving forward, because you're not going to rebuild it in a day. So I think 3 wins is a reasonable expectation for North Texas. That's all we're going. We're going with a reasonable expectation. They could win 10 games. They probably won't. Yeah. But they could win 10 games.
But if they get 3, you'd go.
That's
reasonable.
That's a nice step forward.
Yeah.
UTSA. So UTSA, I would say, is the most surprising coaching change, where Larry Coker resigns and they bring in Frank Wilson from LSU. Frank Wilson is a nice get for them, a guy who has some skins on the wall. And remember, this is also an offensive-minded guy.
Yeah,
so
lauded on the recruiting trails.
Absolutely, he was known as the big recruiting ace. You know what I mean? He is an offensive guy, and this is an offense that really struggled last year. 22 points a game, and they just did not have a whole lot going for them. The good news for them is that they're going to have an opportunity to get some young guys reps. Yes. Bringing back 5 starters on offense, 5 starters on defense. They're going to need to grow up pretty quickly. They're going to be one of the youngest teams in Conference USA next year. And I think this is, if you're looking for a team that may, in fact, take a step backwards in their first year.
Yeah, might be this
of
one.
A coach. It might be UTSA.
Yeah.
They're going to be really young.
Yeah.
They're going to be working in pretty much an entirely new offense. A lot of the key players defensively are gone. They went 3-9 next year. I think a reasonable expectation for them, stay steady.
Yeah. Stay
steady at about 3-9. Win 3 games. You win 4, great, fantastic. But I think 3 wins, once again, is a reasonable expectation for UTSA. I just don't know if they have the horses right now to give Frank Wilson what he needs to win right now.
Sure.
I think they're going to be very young. I think that they're going to be a team that I think they're going to be a team that is going to be growing as the season goes on. What you see in week 1 is not going to be what you see in week 13. I think that there's going to be a growing and kind of learning process there with Frank Wilson. And then there's Texas State. And Texas State is maybe the one that I'm the most interested in, because they've got a guy there in Everett Withers who, the one thing we've always said about him is that he's a winner. Mm-hmm. He comes in and he wins. He's a guy who won at his most recent stop. He's a guy who's won all over the place. A guy that you don't have to worry about winning. Everett Withers is a winner. Now, here's the problem. They're going to be probably the most green team in the state next year.
Yeah.
They're going to be really young.
Yeah.
4 starters on offense, 5 starters on defense back. Just 9 starters back. And when you look across the nation, here are the other teams with 9 or fewer starters coming back. Ready? Massachusetts, Akron, Louisiana Tech, Ohio State, Navy. That's the list.
So they're in the same group with Ohio State. Everything's great.
Everything's great, right? It's going to be a building process, and I'll tell you that I think that I bet Everett Withers' big push on the recruiting trail was simple. You want to play right away? Come on down. I think you are going to see a lot of young guys there. I think you're going to see a team that is pretty much ready to start over. The good news for them is that I don't think the Sun Belt's going to be that good next year. I think a lot of the powerhouses in the Sun Belt are taking a step back and coming back to the pack. So when you look at a team that went 3-9 next year, I think Texas State may, in fact, be worse than they were this past year.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think their record could be better. Does that make sense? I think that I think they could go 4-8 next year and actually improve in the record, but it be, in fact, a younger, less experienced, maybe even less talented team.
Honestly, purely on the fact that the Sun Belt is so volatile.
That's it.
You could honestly see
that is
Texas State going in either direction.
There are two very high variance teams next year. Texas State's one of them. Texas Tech's the other one.
Yeah.
Those are the two that I wouldn't be surprised if they went 1-11.
Yeah.
Also wouldn't be surprised if they won 9 games.
Yeah.
You know, I think that those are two teams with very high variance.
Sure.
So for me, I think a reasonable expectation for Texas State to stay about the same, about 3-9. But I think that they also have of these 3 teams, if there's a team that's going to overachieve that, it's Texas State. Just because the schedule sets up well, and Everett Withers has proven that he can win as a head coach in FBS and FCS.
To be clear about your variance point, though, it would be very surprising if Texas Tech only won 1 game.
Correct.
Yes.
That is also true. But I just think that they're a very high variance team
right.
next year. So that's what we think of of reasonable expectations for the new coaches in the state of Texas. What do you think? Let us know. #DCTF Live. We are DCTF Live. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. We're on Twitter @DCTF. We're on Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. We're on Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's.
We're on everything.
And we're at TexasFootball.com. Of course. Texas Football Rising, it's our winter edition. It's the recruiting edition. We preview more than 400 prospects across the Lone Star State. Kids that just signed in class 2016, kids that are going to be signing in 2017, kids that are going to be signing in 2018, kids that are going to be signing in 2019. They're all in here. Texas Football Rising. Order it online at TexasFootball.com. Or you can buy them at your local grocery store. Also want to plug our South by Southwest show. March 13th, Sunday, March 13th, at the Ginger Man on Locust in Austin, Texas. We will be down there doing the DCTF Live thing with our friends at Transition Sports Entertainment, our friends with Blogs with Balls, Fan-Sided, all that fun stuff. We will be down there doing the DCTF Live thing. It is March 13th at the Ginger Man, 6:30 p.m. Come out, hang out with us, say hi. A lot of blogging luminaries will be there. You saw the guest list, and apparently...
Oh, it's a saucy guest list.
Just everyone. Everyone's going to be down there at the DCTF Live.
Space is limited.
South by Southwest show, so be sure to come on by. It is now Off-Topic Friday, where we don't really talk about football, and instead we bring on our senior writer. It is Mike Craven. Hi, Mike.
Hi, Greg.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good on a Friday. How are you?
I feel like it's been a long time since we talked. You've been writing a lot of stuff for TexasFootball.com, going through the regions across the state, kind of breaking down what they look like. You've been kind of the first person, you've even beat me to it, doing the deep dive into each region. Has there been a region that's kind of surprised you, that has stood out as you've been doing these previews?
I think Class 5A Region 3 with Cedar Park, and with Rouse coming back from 6A to 5A, the Georgetown schools going over there. You couple that with Temple, Crosby, Manville, and everything that Region 3 already has, and that's become the clear and away probably best region in Region 5. It makes Region 4 pretty weak going into 2016 on paper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was one thing that I noticed when I was reading your stuff, is that Region 4 in Class 5A just seems really wide open. It seems like there are a lot of different schools that could end up winning that thing, but there's no real one world beater. And I think that's what happens when you kind of break up that District 25-5A. 25-5A was really buoying that region. In fact, you had Vista Ridge and Vandergrift playing in a state quarterfinal last year. I think that Region 4 and 5A may in fact be a little bit weaker. Is there a team that, going through these regions, you say, I would be really surprised if they didn't win that region?
Doing one today, I think Argyle up in Region 1 in Class 4A Division 1 becomes a pretty clear favorite. And then in the 6A ranks, I think Allen in Region 1 is probably always kind of the biggest lock, each year. They're going to be tough to not be the favorite, every single year they put on pads. So I think that stays their region. And Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see with what everybody has coming back and how the regions shape up and districts and who kind of emerges there.
So we just got done doing a segment on reasonable expectations for new coaches in the state of Texas in the college ranks, and you, of course, are a UTSA guru. I said that UTSA, because they're going to be so young and they're going to have so many, they're only bringing back a handful of starters. I think that the first year under Frank Wilson, I think that 3-9 is a reasonable expectation for UTSA. I'm curious to see if you think that I'm totally wrong.
No, I think that's probably fair from the outside. I think from the inside, if you cover a team so much or you follow a team so much, you probably inflate what they have on campus. With UTSA, I think there's a lot of talent there. Mm-hmm. It's just not at the quarterback position. With Blake Bogenschutz being out now with concussions, it kind of just leaves Dalton Sturm, who's a former walk-on, and then a couple redshirt freshmen there in the spring to compete. So he's not walking into a spot like at Texas State where you have a Tyler Jones at quarterback locked in, and you can kind of worry about everything else. He has to figure out the quarterback position before he can really do anything. And that'll hurt putting in scheme and all that kind of stuff. You don't really know what you have there. So I think they're behind the 8 ball a little bit. In 2017 is probably when UTSA, you start really judging what Frank Wilson has done on campus by then.
So let's get into what we brought you on for, which is totally off-topic questions and off-topic Friday. Mm-hmm. We start with a question from loyal DCTF live viewer and podcast listener Matt Stepp, who asks, what is your go-to Whataburger order? A question that I think should be on the Texas citizenship test. So Mike Craven will give you the honors of what is your go-to Whataburger order?
If it's not chicken biscuit time, I'm a Chop House burger man myself.
Okay, interesting.
I'm lactose intolerant, so there's not a lot of cheese there.
Yes, I understand that.
I am traditionally a patty melt guy.
Okay.
I like the patty melts at Whataburger, but I will also do the barbecue cheddar burger.
Yeah, the barbecue cheddar burger is very good. I like the patty melt as well. This is going to sound crazy.
Uh-oh.
But I go to Whataburger and I order chicken.
You know what? Here's the thing I will say.
I get the barbecue chicken strip sandwich, honey barbecue chicken strip sandwich.
I was just about to say it shouldn't work. It shouldn't be that good. Mm-mm. It's deceptively delicious.
It's really good.
Yes.
I think that that is for me. I go to the chicken, which sounds crazy, but I do when I go to Whataburger, of course. Our second question, brought to us by @PettyBoss, PEDIBOSS, asks, "How did you get into broadcasting?" We'll broaden this a bit for Mike. Mike, how in the world did you get to where you are in your job life?
By complete accident.
Okay.
I had just graduated college. My dad kept asking me what I was going to do with my life.
Interesting.
I was at a Round Rock Express baseball game and ran into who was the sports editor in Round Rock when I played in high school. And he was just kind of asking me what I was up to. He was running the Taylor Daily Press and the Hutto News at the time. I told him I wasn't really doing anything. And he just kind of offered me the job, and that was pretty much it.
Max, how'd you get here?
Boy, it's a long road. I just kind of collected along the way skills. I mean, like, should we go over my stops?
Yeah.
Since college?
Yeah.
ESPN Magazine, KVU News in Austin, Austin American Statesman, Round Rock Express, where I ran into Mike Craven for the first time.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay, Round Rock Express.
Where'd you go from there?
Oh, thepostgame.com as an affiliate of Yahoo Sports, then to yahoo.com, then back over to Yahoo Sports, then here to DCTF Live.
So I kind of like Mike, I kind of accidented my way into broadcasting. I did not study broadcasting. I studied print journalism. I studied newspaper journalism because we need more people rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. And so I studied newspaper journalism, and I just kind of literally what happened, I'll tell you the exact story. So the first time I'd ever been on TV was when we started Fox. Was when I started doing Fox Football Friday on the Fox Sports Southwest show. And my predecessor as a managing editor, Travis Stewart, who was hosting the show, he left to go take another job. And literally my boss said, "Hey, we need you to host the show." And I said, "No," initially. And then I said, "Okay, fine." And now 3 years later, I've done the show for...
You are stuck with it.
I'm pretty much stuck with it. That's how I got into broadcasting.
I would probably just say that the general sort of message I would just say is I knew I had linguistic skills. I could write and I could talk pretty well, but not great, as I'm clearly displaying right now. But I always knew I wanted to use those skills to get into sports, have fun. And I've just kind of jumped around and enjoyed every little stop I've been at.
And have a Papa-Shot in your office.
And have a Papa-Shot in my office.
Yeah, that was kind of my thing, too. I was writing, but I wasn't sports writing.
Yeah.
I just remember I read a book. I don't even remember what book it was, but I remember reading a book in like 8th or 9th grade and going, to be able to make a living just off the top of your head onto paper would be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Like that sounds like something I wouldn't really need nice pants for or anything like that. And so writing just kind of became like, oh, that would be pretty cool to be able to make a living doing that. I never thought that it would happen, and then it accidentally happened.
Have you found that you've saved a lot of money on pants?
Oh, absolutely. Like if you look at my half of the closet dress, I don't even know what it's called. I'm not allowed to go in there very often, but you know where you put clothes.
Right, yeah. Clothes hole. The clothes hole.
Right. Half is the wrong word. If you look at my
Sliver.
section.
Yes.
Yeah, it's mostly just T-shirts and mesh shorts and things of that nature.
The struggle is real. Yes. A question from our friend Avi Zalian at the Dallas Morning News at SportsHS asks, what is the best eating challenge you have either done yourself or witnessed in person? I'll field that.
So, I have a good one, though.
Okay, well, so my buddy, Marcus, who now lives in Chicago, for a time he had convinced the Dallas Morning News to let him go and try all that stupid crap out at the Rangers ballpark in Arlington.
Yes.
And so I watched him eat what was called in person, I was there, what they call the Totally Rawsome Boomstick, which is a 2-foot-long hot dog that is covered in, like, pulled pork.
Yeah.
And it was the most horrifying thing I think I've ever seen.
That's pretty terrifying.
Yeah.
I'll let Craven go next.
I'm not a huge eater, but
yeah, I don't know why we keep you around for that precise reason.
Well, I have Crohn's disease, so I can't fit a lot of things into the belly. But
rule number 76: no excuses. Play like a champion.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I didn't get all the way to the line like that meme that goes around it, I guess. But my grandfather worked for the University of Texas football team forever, and I remember when I was a kid, Shawn Rogers and Casey Hampton played defensive tackle at the same time, and they were at some bowl game, and there was like a dinner thing the night before, and it was all you could eat, like barbecue. And just watching those two plates, it was just, as like a 10-year-old, it was pretty intimidating. So I guess just watching football players eat would be my answer to that.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty intimidating when you get that big hog molly in front of you.
I did a story on Takeru Kobayashi while I was at Yahoo Sports at South by Southwest, where I met our friend Don Povia, who's throwing the event that we will be co-hosting here at South by in a few weeks. And I followed him around for a couple days and in anticipation of him trying to break the world record for most grilled cheeses eaten in a minute.
God.
He broke it easily, and it was breathtaking and disgusting at the same time.
Yeah, that sounds really terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I like eating. I just don't like...
I don't think I've ever participated in an eating challenge myself, unless you just count
think
going to a barbecue place and eating as much as possible.
So you and I like eating.
Yeah.
Mike doesn't,
right.
But you and I like
eating. I would like to.
But I
don't
feel
ruin
like,
the narrative.
I feel like that would ruin it for us. If we were to go and like gorge ourselves on something, be like, oh, God.
I just don't... Yeah, maybe at 20 I'd have been like, yeah, I'll show you how much I can eat.
One last question. I found this one online. If you were President Obama, what would you do in your first week out of office? And this is something I think about a lot, that, every president, be it 4 or 8 years, seems like they age 16,000 years while they're in office. If you go look at a picture of Barack Obama when he was inaugurated in 2009, he looked like this spry young guy, and now he looks like an old man.
Right.
He looks like an old man. So, Mike, if you were the president, what would you do in your first week out of office?
Move.
Leave?
Yeah, I mean, I would probably leave, yes.
Just anywhere?
Just anywhere? Where would you go?
Just for a while. Just let it
disappear.
Just let it kind of go over. Let the next guy be the most hated guy in America, or next woman, and then just come back when you're just like the cool guy that can collect checks to give speaking engagements. Places. So but for the first year, I'd be gone.
You'd fall off the face of the earth?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Max?
Which is my life goal anyway.
Yeah, of course. No, we all want to live off the grid.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm probably, this is a kinship that Craven and I share. I would just disappear. I think I would spend that year doing everything I could to never be seen by anyone in public.
Mm-hmm. And if you were with just like a really weird beard and a gut, just like, what happened to that guy?
I think what I'd do, I think I might tease like a real tell-all book.
Sure.
Like, I think I'd go on this big press junket and be like, you know what? I am not tethered anymore. I don't have a press secretary. I'm going to write a book that tells everything, the deep, dark, dirty secrets of being president.
I don't know.
And then never write it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. I would tease it, and then
you pull the okey doke.
And so then everybody would be like, "Hey, when are you writing that book?" I'd be like, "What book? What are you talking about?" I'm not gonna do it. I think I want to make sure that I tease the American public one more time. That would be my job.
Sure.
What I love about questions like this is it really reveals people's personalities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like Max and I just want to go away.
I'm just a big jerk.
Yeah,
that's what we're saying.
You're here to toy with everyone, and Mike and I just want to disappear.
He is Mike Craven. He's a DCTF senior writer. Follow him on Twitter at Craven Mike. Mike, have an excellent weekend.
You too, guys.
There he goes, Mike Craven, DCTF DCTF senior writer. And that's going to do it for us. That's the end of the week, Max. I'm going to go to San Diego now. You can't stop me.
But what if I don't want you to?
Follow us on Twitter on DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Vince Young, please come get your Player of the Year trophy. And we will see you on Monday. Oh, wait. I can tease this.
Oh.
We will have new Texas Wesleyan coach Joe Prudhomme on the show on Monday. Make sure you tune in, talking about building a program back from 75-year hiatus. It's going to be very interesting to talk to him. So tune in Monday on DCTF Live.